corrigendum at the end or in the definition. So that's one of the things we discussed during the break. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. The proposed way forward as suggested by the Attorney General, Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, that discussion was made, and that was the way forward that has been suggested. That the possibility of a corrigendum will be brought in to define the transitive principle in the interpretation clause 6, I think, that we have gone past. But of course, it will also change the division in the format in Division 2. In Division 2 of the bill, where I think public service, where it says the public service principles, which will now include trusteeship or trustee and public service principles. And of course, what has been enumerated in the amendment, subclause 1 will feature the trusteeship principle, and subclause 2 will feature the public service principles. I think that's the way forward on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for Central Honiara. So that will be circulated later on. So I think on that note, I think we can now invoke Standing Order 55-4, suspend consideration of that. We'll come back to that. We'll go straight on to other clauses which are ready, and we'll come back to it. So I'll suspend the consideration of this particular clause until that is captured. Then we'll go back to that in the interim. I think it's quite allowed under the standing orders. We can leave that and come back to it later. We have disposed of consideration of the other clauses. Is that okay? Thank you. So clause, but I think perhaps to explain again, because it will affect the definition under clause, captured under clause 17. So on this note, I was just raising whether the subsequent clauses, you see, clause 18, 19, 20, make reference to public service. Where are they going to capture? Making reference to this particular policy. So it will take into account those other subsequent clauses will affect this. So on that note, even if we go under clause 18 now, it will still be affected if it's going to capture the definition of public trustee because of the heading that is captured under 17. Honourable Attorney General, your thoughts on that? I want to come to clause 18, but whether that is going to have an implication on the definition subsequently when it's captured under clause 17. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do not think there will be any issues.
Okay. All right. So on that note, I will go straight on to referring clause 18 for the committee's consideration. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. So our next clause for consideration is clause 18. Any comments on that clause before I put the question? If there is none, I'm going to put the question. The question is at clause 18. Stand part of the bill. Those in favor, you say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 18, therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 19, any comments on that clause? Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yes, sir. I note the earlier explanation yesterday by the Honourable Attorney General about parallel systems with police and corrections legislation and their commission operating in tandem or in parallel with this one. So all the principles there, however, because you may looking earlier today. I got parts where Emi apply law or get law close 12 parts law. This will be where apply law police and officers and correctional service officers. Emi including this for part 4. And so equality of employment principle, the issue was raised at the disciplined services here. For example, Los Sayas, a police officer needs to be, a little intimidating in some ways. I'm got a little bit body, of course. Maybe time for doing arrest, him no fright to go arrest. No time big problem, him no run away. Him trying to fix him, kind something also. And so there might be need to discriminate. In the old days, of course, this one was the case. Me go for recruit lo police too, yeah, Chairman. Me go stand up. What a drum on the line, the wall. Time me go sue, from 3 out come recruit. So me go stand. Line here, Mr. Chairman, I'm kasih mosen. Head blow me also straight. Not a 1 foot, no matter left half foot. Then no more. Former Inspector Haniel, man lo small malan. I'm said, oh, you know, fit out. Middle bit travel, he must out. I'm saying. So I'd look at them a certain height and also, fit him here. So I mean, that kind of situation, you would have to, hey, man, Minister of Police, was any good discrimination kind of. But by what no side do him and the law close nine because equality of employment here. Nothing against those on wheelchairs, but no matter man wheelchair must treat him with an equal opportunity now too. Law police recruitment and also. So yeah, just the application law this one no more, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of Opposition. So this principle also maybe signed by him, also applicable to the police. Now, when it comes to the issues, so sometimes come back to principle of merit number 2. You cannot. So you say merit long police would be totally be a different merit long Minister of Health. So that's when other plan common sense come inside the money. So as you already told me, this principle say you may apply based on when now the requirement below each job no money. Yeah. So if the police or the look long height below as one for criteria for employing other people, then that would be applicable for them. Height would not be applicable for other. Yeah. So this is where you may allow each sectors by understanding so that what not merit, but issue for recruiting other people for work. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader.
So that explanation runs counter to clause 21 here, where I'm explaining what the merit principle is. There I'm saying capabilities and capacity to perform functions, potential for further development, unless capabilities here, I mean, including height and what kind of something also, but usually capabilities doesn't include height. So merit under this formulation couldn't be used by police or prisons as justification for, no employment man where no fit. So like a man where police people look like not respect them law too. Is what right man. Something else. Sir.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any comments on that, Honourable MP for Central Honiara?
Chairman, me additional sometimes, they may be overly expressing in the law issues where we set the principle that you should not promote him. Yeah? Like the whole idea, the principle that we try to, promote within the public service is the principle of equality. Yeah? Equality of employment opportunity. And then, if you look at B, for instance, where the next part of the sentence in that B, I'm a little bit worried me, where we are sort of picturing about something that may cause him, it might raise the issue of how we would want it to feature diversity within the force, for instance, yeah? Where Lohia was in, we are trying to promote a fair regional representation, within the force. For instance, just taking, or even in the public service, all of force and so forth. Yeah, we know that we are a diverse country. Yeah, the region, ethnicity, and so forth. But me no think this is the spirit of the Constitution. Constitution say you should not discriminate lo origin, lo region, lo race, color, something or something. You should contain him in the way that you may draft him legislation. In here, we want to say, yes, you may, let us not, we should eliminate him discrimination, but at the same time we said, oh, you may, in some ways you may have to understand him diversity, you may understand him diversity, therefore we have to reflect that diversity in chat law. The way that we are recruiting people, meeting, you should not show or read that kind of, or constructing that kind of issue in chat law legislation. Why don't we stop law, eliminate discrimination no more? You may eliminate him no more discrimination and stop law there no more. Instead for you may try for defining, or something or something, you may try for balancing, or you may have to balance in regionalism, who know how we represent the public service, or something. But by go, you may step into some kind of discrimination too. What do you think about that, Minister? Yeah, what do you think about that? And you too, Attorney General. I don't think that is the spirit of the Constitution. If you look at fundamental rights in the Constitution, we should not speak like that. We should be speaking as one number. Yeah, of course, at times we will qualify ourselves that it's a very diverse country, but we should continue and then see ourselves as a Solomon Island. We should stop normal law. That we must manage to eliminate normal discrimination in the way that we promote employment opportunity within the public service, rather than go further and try for raising some or something more, because eventually we will run into some considerations of where Baba may lead to some form of unfairness, discrimination, or something. Of course, we all understand how diverse this country is. What do you two think about that? It's a very tricky area, but let's continue and then see how now legislation and read into it. Because you may say, oh, we should continue diversity blow country blow then in some ways lo there, Baba you should, what does that mean? Lo side of religion, yeah, because or lo side lo color too, or how, yeah. What do you guys think about it? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Meeting him in some ways lead into some kind of a consideration of those issues that could lead to unfairness, discrimination, or something. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of PAC. Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, MP for Honera. So the policy intention of law, this for close, is really to try as much as possible to give that equal opportunity for everyone. Now, even as much as possible, we try to create an equal opportunity. You still cannot address him that sort of issue because you cannot employ a crippled person to become a police officer. So it comes back to the need belong that for a particular work. But we, and as a constitution, we try to promote equality, which is something that I don't think we can ever achieve law too, yeah. But what we want is to try and give that opportunity for everyone whose MPs are able for apply. The selection when the public service and we talk about equal opportunities is as we tell when you put out your vacancies, normally people say, oh, you must be awesome. So here the whole intention is to promote equality, which in actual fact that's something very, very hard for him achieving the real world situation there. So again, the policy intention of law is for for, again, as I said, for create that equal opportunity for people for coming and be part of the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Chair of PAC.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, yeah, that is very true. The point that me raising lawyer is that then why do we try to raise that issue in the legislation that we are trying to promote diversity? Because what we define ourselves as being diverse, emotionally. Of course, we all understand that this is a very diverse country, a nation of tribes. And then, say for instance, sometime in future, if anything may happen that, maybe considerations of marriage may have been put aside, and then you may say, oh, we are trying to balance diversity. Will that not in some ways lead into some kind of an unfairness or considerations of that by him run against the earlier principle, which is the public service must be managed to eliminate discrimination. So maybe issues of marriage will have to be discriminated against using some kind of diversity interest or something or something. Or that one, what do you think the likelihood of such a risk may arise? Meeting, you should stop the overarching principles of eliminating discrimination, rather than try for qualifying further by talking about issues of diversity. We all know that it's a very diverse country, and by putting this in the law, we are sort of opening up to the public service to really drive into it, and then because that's what normally happens. Once there is an opening somewhere there at the administrative level, within the public service, we all know what has happened. People basically, capitalize on it, But it's all about just basically putting aside issues like that, and then you must stand on something that is more overarching. Discrimination is an overarching issue that we want to eliminate. You must stop with that more. Why more you mean by say, oh yes, but we want to mellow it down to when it comes to talking about our diversity. So what does that mean at times? Regional balancing or religious balancing or what not? I hope we don't run into that kind of a risk. Say, have no more little bit comment on that one here. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for Central Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and once again, thank you, MP for Honora. That difficulty, certainly, by him come in, suppose you may like to apply one principle no more law the whole in the law. I think how this bill has been set up is that you must apply every principle together, and that way by me narrow the gap where you may talk about it. But like for example, if we only apply the equality principle of it as a standalone principle, then by the have achieved now. I think what the intention in Talgaren. By applying the whole principle in the bill in one situation, but I'm really happy with Fala for narrow and bridging the gap that have been created by whatever circumstances out there. I think I'm no harm. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable MP for East Are.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Minister, for those clarifications. I think when it comes to diversity, in terms of the context, Solomon Islands and globally, it means different things. I think what we're trying to do here, perhaps we're trying to narrow it to cultural diversity maybe, or ethnic diversity, as opposed to the wider diversity, which includes, of course, religious and ethnic, of course, racial, sexual orientation. This is quite a wide, quite loaded in terms of a concept. So the policy question, I think, still remains in terms of what now we mean here by promoting diversity. Are we just strictly talking about our cultural diversity in terms of the Solomon makeup of our different backgrounds, or are we talking about something more broader in terms of diversity that does include things like sexual orientation for some people too? If that is what we're agreeing to, then we just want to hear from the Minister in terms of what's a definition of diversity, or maybe there's need for us to put a definition, or there's a definition somewhere we can refer to, or something like that. Otherwise, it can be very broad and might not be what our intention is. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Thank you for that observation, my colleague. So as I mentioned earlier, I think one of the challenges we face when it comes to some of the things is that once you apply it alone, by him really addressing the intention. Yeah, so I mean, like when you talk about diversity, it has to go along with equity and inclusion. In that way, we create fairness. So I think this is the way we would like to address the challenges when it comes to this bill, because I think that every principle here would hold together for you make sure that the decision that you may make him really addressing either one or all of them in a way. But thank you for the observation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for East Harare.
Thank you again, Chair, and thank you for indulgence. Minister, thank you for the response. I'm thinking more in terms of perhaps helping us out. Diversity is used 2 times already in that paragraph 19B. I'm thinking, is it going to be helpful if we may put something at the end here, reflecting the cultural diversity of Solomon Islands, or something making, in a way, qualifies what we mean when we talk about diversity, knowing that can be quite broad and loaded, and then it helps in the intention of the policy. But if the policy is, of course, to be all inclusive but it might run into other policy issues too, or government that might have in other areas. So I'm thinking, Chair, if it helps that we have something like reflecting the cultural diversity of Solomon Islands, would that be enough, or is it too narrow? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for East Harare, for that suggestions. Maybe if we take it in the context of how Division 2 is framed. The public service bill, if you will look at treat him principles as interpretive and normative anchors, which guide him administration decision making, explicitly stating their legal force or how they interact with other provisions. So that's why it's based as a principle. Sitlo there also. Okay, so also too, you'll see that they are basically they are number for guiding human resource management law, public service. You can also see that there are no clauses in there that declares inconsistency with a principle as invalidating or invalidating any acts normal. Which begs for me some to clarity right now is that I'm intended to inform normal discretion and policy, but not to impose justiciable obligations on anyone. So that's why just keeping it as it is best way for you to go in terms of how for you me apply my principles. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Any further comments on this clause? Honourable MP for West Are.
Thank you, Chairman. Looking at the clause equality of employment opportunity principle, me try for look interest look at persons with special needs here. Lo hemi all persons hemi cater and accommodating needs here. Or no good time in all applying practically, hemi discriminate more against more people there, because there is no subclause that hemi really cater for that special needs people. We now have them, and it's sort of a growing population in our country. If Minister Yusabe helping me for understanding, we have that clause. Taking care of that particular need in our community now? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, MB for Mr. This closer and inclusive now. That includes, and when it says all person, inclusive of those people with special abilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman BLC and MP for West Arawa for that question. Interpretation Act me and tell them that when interpreting a provision in an act, you also take into account international obligations law on Solomon Islands. So we, as being party to the disability conventions and international obligations, we take precedence too. So when we interpret this one, that comes with it. So it's as just to add on what Minister Taleb, inclusivity blame, and cover here. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Honourable MP for East Are.
Thank you again, Chair. Thank you, Attorney General and Minister. Just on the diversity among employees. I mean, the word among. Would it be the diversity? Would it make a difference if we say diversity of its employees, or diversity of its rather than among? Diversity among employees. I'm thinking that perhaps we might want to say, if it's what we really mean, diversity of its employees rather than among employees. Just wanting some response in terms of if that makes a difference in terms of the intention we're trying to say here. Thank you.
Any comments, Honorable Attorney General?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, MP for Isara, for those comments and questions. As it is, somehow, Talem earlier on, these are just guiding principles. No more, they're not meant to be justiciable. They're not meant to be enforced. Also, enforceability blame him not some ranked above us. And once it becomes a principle, it's just it's a guiding principle for human resource management or so. So it's not something that you say that anything that you do in contravention of these principles invalidates an act. No. So this is just meant to guide normal or time or public service employment or so. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Any further comments? I put the question. Honorable MP for East Harare.
Yeah, thank you, Attorney General. Just wanted to know from you, Noma, whether there's a difference between, say, diversity of its employees as opposed to diversity among employees. Do you see there's a difference there, or of Lodem, same among them all? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for Isara, for that question. I don't think there is a difference. It's just saying that when we try for constituting public service, we must try for just promoting amongst everyone, diversity. So I think it will not make any difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Any last comments on these observations? Otherwise, let me now put a question. The question is that clause 19 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 19 now stands part of the bill. Clause 20. Any member wish to comment on this clause before I put a question? Clause 20. None, I'm going to put a question, and the question is that clause 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 20 now stands part of the bill. Clause 21. Any comments on that clause? Clause 21. Again, if there is none, I'm going to put a question, and the question is that clause 21 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 21, therefore, now stands part of the bill. Clause 22. Does any member wish to comment on this clause before I put a question? Findings of the Bills Committee can be captured in page 35 of the report. Any comments on that clause? Clause 22. Again, if there's none, I'm going to put the question. The question is that clause 22 stands part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 22, therefore, now stands part of the bill. Clause 23. Any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? Again, refer to page 35 to 36 of the report by Bills Committee report. Before I put the question, clause 23. Any comments on that clause? And if there is none, I'm going to put the question, and the question is that clause 23 stands part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 23, therefore, now stands part of the bill. Clause 24. Does any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? They refer to pages 36 to 37 of the committee report on this particular clause. Any comments on that clause? Again, if there is none, I'm going to put a question. And the question is that clause 24 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it, clause 24. Therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 25. Any comments on this clause before I put the question? Clause 25. Thank you. If there is none, I'm going to put the question to the Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. The law clause 25 because part 4 him apply law police and corrections as well. So code of conduct applies to all employees. This one code of conduct law, public service, but they have their own code of conduct. So how is that going to work to have different codes of conduct?
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Clause 25. Comment or question on the clause 25.
Thank you, Chairman. As we mentioned earlier on today, only the principles no by apply along police as the American law amendment today. The code of conduct or get their own code of conduct under the Police and Correctional Service Act there. And or code of conduct is number 2. So MME as metal today, the principles of law public service number by apply longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader.
If also may, why can't we make exception right there for a clear straight now? Also, Minister explaining company. Because you may law clause 12 where you go past and finish and say all of part 4 him apply part 4 now last section line now clause 25 so it's no longer just principles that apply, the code of conduct applies. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Leader of Opposition. Yeah, so Part 4, Division 1 and 2, I'm addressing that issue where you talk about you in terms of the code of conduct. So, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just for clarifying, I think the amendment we made was that Part 4, Division 4, the law section clause 12, new Part C, new C is Part 4, Division 1 and 2. And no only apply, so exclude him. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Any further comments on that clause? If not, I'm not going to put the question. The question is that clause 25 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 25, therefore, now stand part of the bill. Clause 26. Any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? Clause 26. Thank you. If there is none, I'm going to put the question. The question is that clause 26 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 26, therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 27. Any member wish to comment on the clause? And the Appeals Committee report is on page 37 of the report. Before I put the question, any comments on the clause? Clause 27. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. So 27.1, I'm saying the government employs all employees. This the government, any referral here, the executive government or the entirety of the government in the 3 branches of government. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Can the Colleague Bremen, repeat him again, the fella said minister.
Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The definition of government inside law, Interpretation and General Provisions Act, can refer to the government as means Her Majesty's government of Solomon Islands. So it's basically executive.
Thank you. Honorable Leader.
So the executive government and nothing of the other two branches of government?
Whilst AG is still, Mr. Selekpo, I didn't hear the question from leader, but I was just going to ask AG, does that exclude the other two arms of government, executive and the legislature, in that definition? Thank you.
A point noted, I think let's wait for the Attorney General to get a clarification. Let's relate to also the point raised by, a comment raised by the Leader of Opposition.
Yes, Chairman, yeah, AG book for the definition of the word government there, the policy intention and definition as how the policy defined this one. It's a Solomon government, which including the three arms of government there. So, but by AG defining that one in law, but the policy intention, let me explain Solomon government, you may refer them which have included the executive and the other two arms of government. And here the Somali government is the employer. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and also for that question. Just to clarify, the government means three arms of government, and yes, it includes all arms of government. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you. Just looking forward, and not speculation, but perhaps preempting policy progression. when Parliament finally gets autonomy, and part of that autonomy might be a parliamentary service, so then that definition by him is barwa fit na government meaning the entire state no mana him talk about na so then parliament service I'm still part of government no more. Judiciary is the same. So I answer the issue that Central Honiara raised him. So that's good. So we're looking forward and preparing for that possibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Leader. Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
Chairman, that's the part that I think I need to be further clarified, lawyer, because the heading refers to the employer's role. So, who is the employer? The government of Solomon Islands. But we all know that the employing agent is the Public Service Commission, isn't it? That's the, by definition, law, Chapter 13 of the Constitution. It has the role to employ Public Service Commission. So the question is, how do we differ with what is in the Constitution to this? There are different employing agents of the government. You have the Public Service Commission, the Judicial Legal Services Commission, and so forth. So I think that has to be very clear in this legislation, where we refer to government. Because when we refer to the government, it is the executive arm. But then you have the different employing agent, these commissions, as stated in the Constitution. Awesome. That's one. The second point that me like for pointing out, lawyer, is in relation to subclause 2. And that is the overarching responsibility of the government. Government being the chief, or collectively, basically the custodians of that public trust here. If that is the case, then why don't we state that as one of the primary responsibilities of the government? That is to ensure that that trusteeship responsibility here should be one of the core overarching responsibility that government must make sure and ensure to promote within the public service. Of course, elements of it is being shown here, but I think it should be one of the overarching issues that must be espoused in the way that the legislation may be constructed. What's your take on that, Minister? And AG, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can the MP for Central Honiara repeat him come question me no really get it.
Thank you. Yeah, it is in 2 parts here. You know, you have clarified now this will how we define government. You say it is inclusive of both the judiciary and the legislature. So that in one government nine, I must say. But we have different recruiting agents below government here. The commission, for instance, here, Public Service Commission is the recruiting agency, below public service, and then you have others too. You know, the Judicial Legal Services Commission, and so forth. But in here we bundle them together as government. But in the Constitution, they have that different responsibility to be the employing agent in Chapter 13 of the Constitution also. How do they fit into this provision lawyer. You see no issue lawyer if anything arises in future, because I know that when actions are taken, for instance, when citizens or when others that are aggrieved by the decisions of the government, they sue those commissions separately. I must say, not necessarily the government of Solomon Islands. They sue those commissions also. I'm not sure, but it's something for AGU clarify and come. The other issue now is the law subclause 2 here. This whole idea of trusteeship principle. I think it's a very, very good one. You must continue to promote that trusteeship, because the government institution together, you are all. Government is including us here. We are holders of public trust here, Muslim. But when it comes to exercising what a public trust here, employees level no more. You have the fiat, Muslim. So, how number by you mean? In some ways, featuring that in here, that principal role of trusteeship here. Me like for regime golo ota some parts of come here too the why no so trusteeship principles here are not included. Instead, others know the values, the code of conduct, but other principles here have been not mentioned here. But him right, living Muslim. Him know what me like to ask him. Do you think it is something that we should put in here? This whole issue of trusteeship here. I think it's a very important one. So that government as a whole, ministers, we are all combined together. We are all holders of that public trust here, emotion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP, for Senator Loniara for that question. And firstly, maybe just one step back, just for also clarifying with the government in the sense of our own employees. So, government currently, you may say, current administration. So, you may say basically it's the executive arm which constitutes the Prime Minister and not ministers and every department. So, everyone what the arms of government come under each department in terms of administration. So when it comes to the employment part of public service or the government, public service becomes the the employer. Now, certain posts in government requires certain commissions to make those appointments to those certain positions within government. Okay, so for example, JLSC, anything within legal, any officers inside the public service within legal nature, JLSC must make an appointment before you become, that post is filled. But the actual act of employing what go out, making recruitments, advertisements, public service, they do that. But when those selection criteria are met and everything set for appointing to those officers and not commissions are coming. So there are no conflicting employers within government. Second part, trusteeship principle for including here, it could be, I don't think necessary. Why? It's because we talk about employers no more inside here. So time we employ me for filling up water, not positions here. Time what one sense of positions here. Or doing water now, then you must always be mindful that you are in a public service, and once you discharge your duty, trusteeship principles must always apply in the vacuum. So maybe another sections. This one just basically for employers' role and responsibility for time and employment will come in. Maybe things are necessary for this part here. Subject to what the policy is. Also, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Last comment from you.
Yes. So Just perhaps along similar lines of some central honor, raise him solo 2 year, subclause 2 A, B, C. So A, protect welfare of the public service. What is that? Welfare of the public service. And then C, ensure that the service has capacity and capability to perform. And C, to nurture, develop leaders. Those are all very good. I assume welfare minimum emoluments and remuneration also. But I suppose to a little bit flesh out Madam Central Honyara regime, what about the dignity or the integrity or the reputation of the public service? That surely must be a responsibility for government to make sure that the public service has a good name, for example. No fish and chips business kind of spoil them name block government, then people lose trust in their government and also. So it's one of the responsibilities now, is to make sure, and again, it's a fleshing out or it's a playing out manifestation of the trusteeship principle. Is government is concerned about the good reputation of the public service, therefore it will put in measures under public service orders or other tools to ensure that name is protected. The trusteeship is really advanced. So something also should be added to them is in protecting welfare of the public service, but protecting the name or reputation of the public service or something also. Dignity or integrity of the public service. Okay, something also. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Honourable Minister. Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. So the code of conduct by Madresuna, the issue of the Kanaka Law of the Public Service. So some of the issues belong out of public service but would be addressed under the code of conduct. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for East Harare.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister and the AG. Just go back number 27.1, yeah? Clause 27.1. I just feel that the drafting there is a little bit too loose. The government employs all employees. Say if me manlo bulk shop owner, me happy na government na ba employ every employee below me lo bulk shop no. I'm thinking that perhaps I'm better me tighten him up a little bit by introducing some words. The government employs all its employees, or the government employs all government employees. I mean, the government employs the public service. I mean, some of the options, but as it stands, no matter, the government employs all employees. It just sounds a bit too loose in terms of what it is our intention. Yeah, but I think we can fix that quite quickly, no man. I think, yeah, I mean, look at me, agree, come, Chair, thank you.
Employees, all its employees. If you refer to all employees, it could be anyone. Only its employees. I think that's where you're coming from. Specifically on the government employees, not the wide whole spectrum of employees that are roaming the country or something. Sorry, Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Before we arrive for that question, if I may take you to the definition of employee, it means an individual who is employed in the public service. So I'm not run down employee, public service. So for you, me extending what law private sector, but quite hard a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. If any other comments, if I put the question. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Hey, come back to earlier comment, Blumia, Lungo. Protecting the good name of the public service. if somehow it could be put there. I mean, yeah, I have general orders, public service orders. Of course, 1 or 2 available for ministers from time to time. I mean, to note something inside. That's just the way it will be implemented. But in the act itself, recognition that the good name of the public service is important to all of us, and we must make sure of it. And government has the primary responsibility to make sure of it. So if any public officer has doing anything when spoil him good name of the public service, we must deal with him seriously also. And then orders not how to deal with him or something, and the practical how to work out now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. Basically, clause 27, let me say him giving overarching responsibility to the government for doing the following things, A, B, and C. But these duties, you must have him. You have to exercise it through public service values here, which is stated in, I think, 23, clause 23, then which have included accountability, equity, impartiality, integrity, professionalism, respect, responsive, and transparency. So it's not in isolation. You have to apply those values when you also policy making, management, and also oversight public service. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. I think I comment on that. I will now put the question. The question is that clause 27, some part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. Clause 27 now sounds part of the bill. Thank you. Clause 28, our next clause for consideration. Any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? Clause 28. Any comments on that clause? Thank you. I'm now going to put the question. Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
Chairman, this will sub-clause 1 here, how the sentence and read the following persons share responsibility for the human resource management of the public service. AG, do you think this does not in any way might interfere with the sole responsibility belonging to Commissioner of Police, the Constitution? Where in this legislation, we are asking him to share those responsibilities, whereas in the Constitution it says that he has that sole responsibility for him to take control and in charge of the police force here. But in this legislation, we are pulling him together to share those responsibilities, especially in the human resource management belong to police force here. What do you think? It does not affect that responsibility? Thank you. Sir.
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leader MP for Central Honiara, for that question. In short, no, it does not, because you hear him talk about the most had human resource management in terms of command and control of force. That one is sole constitutional responsibility of Commissioner of Police. You cannot touch that. But in terms of administration, of the force, which includes human resource management of public service, which also Lokata Imise may apply by virtue of earlier clauses. It doesn't interfere with the constitutional duties of Commissioner of Police. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
What about the last part of that sentence? where I'm comprised of the total sentence here, where I'm saying for other functions performed in relation to employees. As you know that the exclusive responsibility belongs to Commissioner, Law Police Force, and me vested law him to you. Which, that's the part that I thought might in some way, you know, may be affected, but it's subject to your clarification, Law MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Basically, as long as him no interfere within the command and control of the Royal Somaliland Police Force Constitution, him you may not interfere with him, not a duties play. Basically, this one you may say him administrative in relation to of what employees law, RSIPF, pay structure, same or half or the ranking, kind of same. That one. He says ranking and what same that one him command and control same, but in terms of say administration law each of the positions here, that one him it's not in my view interfering with the constitutional duties of command and control. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, sir. Last part, no more for clearing that part. You know, in that last part of that sentence, Jan referred to functions, the functionalities of the police, for instance. When it comes to the functions, you know, that involves commanding, yeah? I must say so. But now, I mean, you go to read it to that end, yeah? Who commands the functions here? I must say, yeah? So you think that last bit here now, no, there won't be any strings, you know, attached to it, because that commanding part of those functions, yeah, solely blow commissioner. Why would in this legislation we draw him to be shared to others, with others? Sorry, not to others, but with others. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP Central Honiara, for that question. Now, if just going back no more, we'll see that the government is the employer. I'm not one 27 him talent. Then 28 him talent. Okay, because government him employer. Each one law you may law here now you may got responsibility for you may look after me in terms of human resource management law of the employees. Yes, so I'm outline you come and that's basically what it does, and it's specifically only for that purpose, human resource and employees here. It's nothing to do with them, say command structure or control block, command block force. Discipline ranks, discipline blocketa, we have no touch. So we still preserve that constitutional functions, and they are not in any way, we say, contravened law. This one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
So, say, if that is the case, maybe Mitro Minister. So, what are the functions now you envisage here that in the last part of that sentence that will be shared with the Commissioner? So it's not to, in some ways, you know, affect him now. The exclusive right blame for managing the force in the Constitution, yeah? And just come back law, that phrase that you go back law, government employs all employees, yeah? And now I'm raising now, pointed today, I thought that it could be better worded, well, nice word now, inclusion now, is RRM come out one time, but me say for suggesting you today, but I missed that opportunity. Yeah? That the government through its employing agency, employees, all employees, something was saying, yeah? So they did captures the all the employing agents under Chapter 13 of the Constitution. But anyway, that's gone past. Lawyer Minister no more. What are those functions that you envisage that would be shared with the Commissioner? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, before Senator Honera. Yeah, so this section, let me actually talk about the shared responsibility in terms of human resource management of the public service. So, and I'd like to mention by AG, this section, this section, I'm really talk about managing the human resource. No, it's nothing to do with the function that is defined by the Constitution under for these different bodies here. So, in terms of human resources, that one hand is shared responsibility belong the Public Service Commission and different commissions here. The example now is that endorsement officer for recruitment and appointment here for freedom of positions is a shared responsibility. So that's also one of an example of what we try for addressing here. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
So, yeah, so according to the Minister, I'm saying just for managing human resource no more. So why don't we stop no more long human resource here, then full stop there, then leave him now what other functions perform in relation to employees. Because you say specifically in relation to just the human resource no more. So why did we have to extend it to other functions here? Because I was asking for what definitive functions here now we envisage him to be shared with the Commissioner one time or the others here. Thank you.
Yes, well, thank you, Chairman, and thank you again, MP Bros. Yes, so human resource management has its own functions inside there. So those functions are now about guaranteed set responsibility for performance. And then, as I said earlier, the function is not any function performed, as I said earlier, in relation to employees. Not a function block that different commissions here, where I'm stipulated under the Constitution. So this function, so we talk about later, only function that's performed for or in relation to human resource management or employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Attorney General, before you come.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may just add on to what Minister Talim. So, in say other functions performed in relation to employees, having that there is quite crucial. It's there for a purpose, and that is some a lot of functions in relation to employees. Police and Correctional Services Commission by delegating all him. Although it's not in his original JD Blohem, but time Police and Correctional Services Commission or say okay, some function law, but me delegating go back in relation to what are employees here. So those are for that. Also too, not only that for what are minister too, what other functions in relation to what are. So it's not only for police and also. What this does is actually it enhances the idea that not let me say in public service there's a shared governance architecture, and you may say not one. For want of a word, not one, so they have only public service, no one single institution. It's shared. So what you do is just recognize each institution or each agency where him got certain functions, role law, HR law, what institutions play. Like for example, him na discipline ranks, him got teachers. lawyers, for example. It's just recognizing that, but the shared responsibility in terms of HR, him bring him to the forefront of this one. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Okay, with that comment, let me now put the question. The question is that clause 28 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it, clause 28. Therefore, now stands part of the bill. Clause 29, honourable members, there is an amendment proposed to this clause as appeared on provisional business paper number 63. Let me ask the Minister to move on the amendment. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, sir, I move that clause 29 is amended. A, by substituting subclause 3E with the following. Code E, adapting and integrating modern digital technologies into public service structures and systems to improve public service records, data management and service delivery. And quote, and B, restructuring the rest of the paragraphs in alphabetical order. So, yes, so Chairman, this one, I mean, set him the role of minister, the role and responsibility of the minister in this section. So that fella, I mean, clear Adim go now the additional role and responsibility of the minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, before I put the question, does any member wish to comment on this amendment? Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Again, Lohia Committee felt very strongly in weighing the evidence that was presented to it by various stakeholders about the importance of data. Of course, we all understand in today's world, data is very precious, is a very precious resource, and by operation of various laws, the public service collects data. And so someone has to be responsible for that data. And so, time man him apply, for example, him submit him everything, no. Every personal detail blame or something, you go casting out grandfather, grandmother, sometimes what application form I ask them to you. And so it is important that that data is protected, but also data blow you me as a sovereign country too. I mean, including too. Data blow people blow you me, so there is need for responsibility, someone to be responsible for that, so that they're taking active steps to ensure that our protocols are modernized, effective, and protect our sovereignty and the data we hold for over the people who work for you me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Make no judgment. Point law, Leader of Opposition, and we'll take note law comments. Thank you.
Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
Chairman, me supporting amendment. Are we debating the amendment? Is move amendment? Okay.
The amendment is proposed by the Minister.
It's proposed by the Minister.
That's
yes.
what
Yeah, I really support this motion. Me supporting too much. This is a motion on behalf of Leader Bloom, no stop. So me really supporting motion here. Yes, I think this is the way to go. We need to really upgrade him now. The whole public service establishment now. I mean the whole system now, MOSM. Yeah? Just we will be caught up again with the wording of this amendment here. Say, when we refer to adopting, him no more little bit comment with me like regime learn, adopting and integrating modern digital technologies into public service structures and systems. There is only one public service here. It's defined in the Constitution. So maybe that one and almost a little bit comment with me like for make him learn that you may have to amend more this one here. That they are public service or the systems and structure equal out him. You miss what now system and structure. We are basically adopting the use of digital technology. That infrastructure is already around here and problem here, you know, problem here. DPM here and bar intuitive. I must say. He's working on it. He'll have data center here and then he's gonna go furthermore for introducing more other technologies and infrastructure for improving the. So me like say no more. Why don't you improve more wedding law here, yeah, into the public service, and then leaving more every one of the structures and systems and all there, and then come to a little bit improve them to the wording towards the end, yeah, improve them recording, data management and service delivery, something else. Because we all know what's the public service, I must say, yeah. Have no more a little bit small comment below me this amendment. But me support him straight now. With little bit small amendment the wording law amendment. Yeah, you miss said now. I must say no more. I must say yeah. So say I support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for Central Honiara. Honourable Minister.
Let me ask him AG for comment on that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My view on having them in there is, I mean, taking it out or leaving it in there. Leaving it there have got a more effect. That's the point I'm trying to make, because structures and systems is refer to the technology adoption. Systems will come behind. That's what they are. Public service structure and system correlate. What are technological advancements this time? So that's, for me, it's having it in there serves that purpose, and also too, it's I think we'd rather have it in there than not have it in there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Any further comments on that? Honourable MP for East Arare.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, AG and Minister. Just to take on that issue that was raised by Central Honiara with the introduction of structures and systems again in there. Perhaps any idea, examples, or some of these structures and systems as it relates to digital technologies here. What may be some examples of those public service structures and systems? Otherwise, the idea for me, putum number public service number and continue on, make it more cleaner without reference to any structures and systems might be a better way forward without qualifying it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, before Mr. Arare. Yes, one example of that one is recruitment online. Yeah? So instead for me submitting recruitment to go through the normal paperwork process, they just go online and submit their application. So I think when we talk about this system, it's the whole of public service process and system that we use in them. integrated model with him now, the new e-governance technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
So, recommendation 13, Law Bills Committee, there is another side to that recommendation where I'm not picked up by this amendment. The amendment, me pick him up side block government in terms of, adopting e-government protocols and all same. But if you look last line of recommendation here, me say minister role blame him one or some with him fiduciary responsibilities. So him trustee. So time me film up form, me come putum law public service. Information him blow me, no blow minister. Me give him go minister and trustee. So time him receive him information blow me, him treat him as him trustee. Him no go misuse him data. Yeah. All same. So that aspect of him amendment him no capture him, and therefore it's protection against big brother government. Government assuming that him shall pry into the privacy of citizens or individuals, even non-citizens. Time to submit him the application. So that aspect of him no captured inside of this fella. Proposal or amendment here, Chairman. And to help with that, of course, therefore, there is need for transparency in the way that data is captured. The data itself need not be open because of privacy of individuals, but the way that it is captured, and there is accountability for the use of that data, which means, of course, offenses, penalties must come within time, any abused or misused or used carelessly. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you once again, Leader of the Opposition. Yes, so with regards to this issue of law, data protection, that would be already by taken care under clause 1 to 3. But the policy, overall policy for that would come from the Ministry of Aviation, and so that policy where we guide with data management, but come from the Ministry of Law, Aviation. And thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader.
Ministry of Law Aviation not responsible for public service. Ministry of Law Aviation, if they're bringing cybersecurity law, that one for that architecture itself more, in terms of systems and any abuse, law and so forth. But the data when come through the public service machinery, or get by no any jurisdiction lahem, and they should not be the lead agency law government for formulating policy. So really it should be law here, and that was the intention law recommendation 13. So half law have now already captured with this fellow amendment law clause 29, but that other half now am no quite captured. Thank you, sir.
Noted, Honourable Leader. Any comments, Honourable Minister?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you once again, Opposition Leader. So the disclosure club law in terms of data protection, him got clause 1 to 3. I think what we talk about him in terms of the data management as part of the government, I think the Ministry of Law will come up with a policy for for looking to our database system, believe me. But in this bill here, 1 to 3, clause 1 to 3, take care of the data protection. So be assured that any data comes in, protected.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, sir. Chairman, we can make more of this while waiting. solar structures in the system there. Minister, you maybe you answer some more questions to Istarare. What now the structures in system? How do you define it? Because the whole public service structure and system, but even go Kasimlo house too, residential house here, even loaded car, truck. Yeah, even around the whole tanki, you're careful here. Sim, garem something lo em too, one em camera, voice detector, and what something in chat lo em too. You're careful, garem more chips lo in chat lo em. So PM, you take them to whatever whole more tanki. But that's beside the point. Just coming back normal this one. So how do you, to what extent, how do you define that whole structure and system? Because nukudim you go kasim pulung the whole technology right into the house blimi too. Or into the car blimi, because that's the whole part of the whole public service structure and system. Because we house public offices, or the government employees. We assign them with vehicles or semi. But I don't think that's not the best application of economy consideration into this whole thing. So that's why I think it's more tidier for you to stick to what wording inside the Constitution. In time you mean but reach good now, okay, you may extend him go, law the other aspects of the public service. What do you think, Minister? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, MP, for Senator Honera. Yes, as you mentioned today, the structure of public service, I think the whole government structure machinery, as we talk about him. So when you talk about him, establishing key governance for that one, you may have to incorporate him, the whole machinery of government inside of that system. So within the public service, we have systems and processes that use him for him actually delivering services blaming. So that whole system will be also incorporated inside long that e-governance is the e-governance. So again, we may be implementing this stage by stage, and by me start off where him really significant, and then before him going to what Tawielo Sodhonan Talemba go some household. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any further comments on that? Honourable MP for East Arare.
Thank you, and thank you for the Minister for clearing this one. But I was wondering, if you look at the current, and thank you to the Leader of Opposition for saying that this is half of what we're dealing with, half of some of the recommendations. But I think when you look at this, maybe does it make a difference if we say adopting and integrating modern digital technologies, and then you jump go straight not to improve public service records, data management, and service delivery, and then you may leave him out now, and you can into public service structures more than to improve more. So we just talk straight about direct more about digital technologies, and then to improve. So it's more active rather than trying to describe what the structures and systems are, and then continuing the rest of the. Would that still hold the spirit of what it is our intention here, without introducing other concepts that might still be confusing? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable MP for East Arare. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, MP for East Arare. Yeah, so maybe the reading, but it's only me a little bit different from the way probably each one of us interpreted. But here, when you talk about the process of the structured system, you're actually talking about adapting and integrating the e-technology into this system, which again, by him, definitely going to improve the public service record, data management, and service delivery. So, the reading along this fella, I think I'm straightforward one number. When you talk about systems and structure, you're talking about him integrating this new system, e-governance system inside along the system and structure for improving service delivery, data management, and improve our records as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable MP for East Arare.
Thank you again, Minister. Minister, me help or you bara spoil everything here, but the idea now is perhaps we can introduce e-government services there, technologies into public service e-government structures or something, and then it might help to structure. We talk about e-government kind of things here, technology kind of things rather than any other kind of systems or structures. So the idea is to introduce e-government structures and systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may offer some clarity in terms of structures and systems. Maybe if we put on some structures, you may say him refer to the organizational and institutional architecture of the public service. Examples, ministries, departments or commissions, its directorate, inspectorate, and all of those are the structures within public service. Now, if we come to systems, now we will talk about the human resource management system, records and document management system, financial management systems, or things like that. So that's why they are included in there. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Any further comments on that clause before I put the question? Thank you, Honourable MP for East Arare.
Thank you, Chair. So it's not necessarily just e-government structures, right? Thank you.
Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Everything I say, inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. And let me now put the question. The question is that clause 29 is amended, A, by substituting subclause 3E with the following. E, adopting and integrating modern digital technologies into the public service structures and systems to improve public service records, data management and service delivery. And B, restructure the rest of the paragraph in alphabetical order. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 29 therefore stand amended accordingly. And before I put the question in respect of clause 29, does any member wish to comment on the clause as amended? Findings of the Bills Committee are on page 38 of the report. Any comments on the clause as amended? Thank you. If there is none, I'm going to put the question. The question is that clause 29 as amended stand part of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 29 as amended therefore stands part of the bill. Clause 30, honourable members, there is an amendment proposed to this clause as appeared on the provisional business paper, number 63, and I ask the Minister to move the amendment. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. I move that clause 32 is amended by substituting paragraph B with the following. Code B, the Permanent Secretary, and C, the principal responsible officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Elaborate on the purpose and of the amendment, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. So this clause is established the responsibility of the Minister to make the code of conduct.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, before I put the question, does any member wish to comment on this amendment? Thank you, Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The recommendation below Bills Committee, law recommendation 14, with regards to clause 30, I mean, like for, well, in proposing for, in recommending for broader consultation even, that, for example, maybe this initial consultation happened within Commission and the PS and responsible officers. We would suggest other commissions, since Olketa 2, you may include in Olketa law, but Olketa Code of Conduct, may garan influence law Olketa 2, and they too should be part of him. But also even Kokasin mod employees too, through their trade unions. So for example, that may be a first stage consultation with the commissions and PS and responsible officers, and then a draft can come out where all public officers are able to fertilize it. So it's open for 30 days or something, or those who wish to contribute may do so on some kind of website or something, or submit in hard copy in writing. And then a final one is then issued by the minister, something also, and each time there are changes, it's sort of a similar process. So you got buy-in right from the word go. And even if people disagree with certain things, well, it doesn't mean that's what the minister is going to put out. The minister still, after doing consultation, by him still act guided by public interest in these matters, and wisdom and the fear of the Lord also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Leader. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Honorable Leader of the Opposition. Yes, so in establishing the public service orders here, as in clause 125, there will be a wider consultation that by me ensued before, for in terms of process blaming for establishing others public service orders. So take note of that, and it's already been part of the policy process for establishing national public service order. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader.
Perhaps with assistance from the Honorable Attorney General, the fact that law here, naming Public Service Commission specifically, does that therefore by implication exclude the other commissions from being consulted under law here? Because those are not included inside law this whole amendment, and certainly not the employees either having the draft or a draft for comment or also feedback from employees. Would that therefore then preclude them also from being consulted? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. How it's couched here is basically in terms of making this a code of conduct. Minister, some obligation is only to consult with Public Service Commission and Permanent Secretary, blah, blah. That's the minimum. But if him like consult with him with another ones, there's nothing precluding him to do that. He can do that. But himself no more minimum threshold is before you do this one, one follow you must not this one. But him no excluding others. It just says this is the one you must consult with. And thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Any further comments on that proposed amendment? Sorry, Honorable Member for East Ariara.
Thank you, Chair. I think not necessarily on the amendment, but just asking the maybe Minister or perhaps the AG, in terms of, we're talking about 30, correct, Chair?
Correct, yes.
So we see the heading there, the use of makes, Minister makes, and then make code of conduct, making code of conduct, I must mind baking now. Is there another word we can use instead of make? you're doing with other more legally sounding word, madam. You mean me make a code of conduct no more, sound too. I'm sure AG can find some other word we can use that sounds a bit more, rather than me make him what something no more. Minister make him, Mamsa make him start something yet, Chair, but I think make him code of conduct there now. I'm sure we can find a more dignified way. Yeah, me leave him no more minister makes him say code of conduct no more or something, and then change him make it there to, I don't know, draft or I don't know, establish or I don't know, something that sounds a little bit more. We're making law here, and I'm looking at some of this language and I'm a little bit looked, something that we could perhaps improve on. Or I think new drafting, now this one. I'm kind of an old school guy too, so when we talk about minister make him stuck or something, I miss that for worry more too. But, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP, for Mr. Harris for that question. You will see that's the current style of drafting employed since 2016, 15 or something. Employing the use of simple, plain English language words. No one answer. We've gone away from the legal, archaic phrases, legal phrases, and you may put them comments. I think the rationale that was adopted at that time was to people not for read him before to understand him by him much better. Although we are taking out jobs from other lawyers, but you try to make him simple for people will understand. So no more why him the use of plain language, drafting style believe me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Any further comments on that proposed amendment? If not, I'm going to propose the question. The question is that clause 32 is amended by substituting paragraph B with the following. B, the permanent secretary, and C, the principal responsible officers, end of quote. All those in favor say aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. Clause 30 therefore stands amended accordingly. Before I put the question on the clause as amended, any honourable member wish to comment on that clause as amended? Thank you. All agree to that, so I will put the question. The question is that clause 31 therefore stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please aye. Say aye. Sorry, clause 30. I'm jumping the gun. Apologies. Let me retrieve this. Before I put the question, I think we already put the question. I will put the question again that clause 30 as amended stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 30 as amended therefore stand part of the bill. Clause 31. Any member wish to comment on this clause? And also refer to page 39 of the Bills Committee report. Before I put the question, any member wish to comment on this clause? Clause 31. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. Again, the recommendation of the Bills Committee, this one, recommendation 15, recommend them that this further review process also, much more inclusive and consultative, so that there are more stakeholders that can be part follow this whole process. And especially all Kolkata employees below public service, employees below government, could have, maybe again, like an exposure draft or something also come out where various commissions and employees of the government are able to make some contribution. And then, of course, a final draft comes out after completion. Look every something here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Leader of Opposition. Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you again, Leader of the Opposition. The Public Service Order, as made in Clause 125 here, will provide stakeholder consultation process for public as part of a good policy process, public policy matters, and would be sufficient for addressing that. That's for recommendation 15 Block Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Any further comments on that clause 31? Thank you. If there's none, I'm going to put the question. The question is that clause 31 stand part of the bill. All those in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 31, therefore, stand part of the bill. Clause 32, the next clause for committee's consideration. Does any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? Clause 32. You can find the recommendations and the report by the Bills Committee on page 30 and 39 and 40 of the report. Any comments on that clause? Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Again, here the Bills Committee's recommendation was with regards to 32 subclause 3A, where we set a minimum for subcommittee, for advisory committee at 1. And to have a committee of 1, I suppose must be the most efficient, could be the most efficient committee. But the Bills Committee was of the view that perhaps given the size of the public service and its propensity, likelihood to grow over the next few years, that a minimum is not 1, it's more than 1. Or committee suggested 3, but at least not 1. Must be more than, should be more than 1, was the recommendation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Also, thank you, Leader of the Opposition. With regards to the advisory committee, this one have depend on the task that is needed to be done. In view of that, some of the tasks can be done by just one person, so we can engage him or her as a consultant just to conduct that for need assessment or whatever the mainstream like him. There's some tasks that definitely going to need more people. So, Mifala decided that Imi Putu Masidis, although the ward committee, most of the time, we think about more people. But again, this one has to be based on the task that need to be carried out. So one person can do certain tasks. If one consultant can do maybe some analysis structured long public service, then that task can be done by one person only. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader.
Yeah, thank you, sir. As a matter of course, if there is a need for consultancy, that them normal something normal. So that's not necessarily an advisory committee, and different sectors or different ministries looking to get technical advice with a particular matter may then draw up a council reference and tender for appropriately qualified people to apply for the work. And so consultancy side, that's just the normal course of doing business. And of course, minister need not be, law now telling him start doing before him start doing. That one normal, something normal is expected. That if you need that resource, well, you get it if you have budget for it. But we're talking about advisory committees here. Committee now you talk about committee of one. And that's why that whole issue had come up in the recommendation. So I think to say that, 1 year because we could have consultants. Well, no, consultant, you don't need him law for telling you before you can hire one. You can still go ahead and hire one more. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Leader, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you once again, Javier Lomi, Leader of the Opposition. Yes. So this one I'm just stipulating the minimum number 2. So I mean, we can still, if it's also in the advisory committee, then the year in terms of the maximum, you have to put 5 there. 3 that talk about it, maybe in the middle. So when we talk about 1, it's just the minimum way we talk about him. So I think that is still accommodative when it comes to committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments, Honourable MP for East Ararai?
Thank you. Just following up on that point, Chair. Thank you very much, and thank you, Minister. The idea that we have here is advisory committees, but I think the way it's drafted, particularly 32(3), where the power to appoint at least 1 year, really the emphasis is on an advisor, and then when the need arises, it becomes a committee. The idea seems to be that the emphasis is on one person, and then we see 3D there. If there is more than one member, then must specify which member to be the presiding to be the member. But the idea is it seems to be. Is it true that, or the intention that we have a less number is what we're going for? Like one falana him seem to be an advisor number, but if need be, now you increase him number to become a committee. Is that the kind of intention? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, MP for East Ararai. The answer is yes.
Thank you. Any further comments on that clause? Honourable MP for East Ararai.
Yeah, perhaps and probably me bypassing now, but then it would make more sense to me if we may say Minister may appoint advisors without a committee there, and then during the drafting of it, now you allow for committees to form if you need a committee. It seems to be the emphasis is more on the committee, but your intention seems to be an advisor of sorts. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister.
Maybe may ask him AG for maybe helping me clarify that one. But before AGM come up and explain that, I think the whole intention is that as a committee now have really the whole intention. So let me allow my AG for maybe just clarify that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If MP for East Ararai repeat him, come with more question, then please.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Minister and AG. I mean, the idea that we're starting at least one there, it just seems to be to me that we're actually talking about an advisor, but then when the need arises, we increase the number. So the advisor becomes an advisory committee. But essentially, we're thinking of, or the intention is to have somebody advise the minister or to help in terms of the role there. So it just seems to be the emphasis is more on the committee, but The idea is advisor seems to be what he's looking into perhaps in practice, and then if there need be, he goes beyond that one. Maybe, but then the committee, I'm saying the only way to do it maybe is through a committee, or the other way to do it maybe is through an advisor, and then allow for committees to grow around that advisor when the need arises. More efficient, more faster, more effective, more cheaper perhaps, for Garam kind type person, more nimble. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and before we start for that question. What it does here is it tries to maintain flexibility, that there are sometimes matters which for appointing five Falamani overkill no mana, and then we spend for that. For that purpose. But if it's in the opinion or the wisdom of the minister at that time saying for this minor issue here, I need counsel, I'll just appoint one person, and that will be deemed as the committee for this. And so that's basically what I'm saying intention here. It's rather than having to maybe appointing even three for that one minor issue would be overkill in any event. So it's about efficiency. You overspend too much. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, Chair. I don't want to go back to any maybe earlier discussions of this, but just meeting normal advisory committee. It seems that the kind of work that Bio officials have been doing no more, but Bio are doing here. Why are we coming up with all sorts of committee that could draw a lot of huge resources, for running? So what now? Bio 2 or 3 months behind law, but by finish now, or by how? And then it's not really clear here what are the details of the human resource management that by this committee is going to deal with. It would be good for us to have the legislation and prescribe him now what exactly now you may expect him now. This will a committee of this kind for doing. Yeah? There's so many committees that you may establish. One will now DPA may run him, report come out, no anything or the work alone, something or saying. Savarlo or the other ministries here, so I'm just expressing my view no more longer. Appointment or establishment of the committees like this. Yeah? Here we are, trying to build up the public service capability, but at the same time, we are putting on the sideline another committee for him, in some ways, replacing this the capabilities that are going to be there permanently, or supposed to be there permanently. So, say him no a little bit small comment there. Bami vote yes this one, but I don't think it is really necessary. I have no more point with me like make him lawyer. Then I resume my seat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable MP for Central Honiara. Honorable Minister.
Chairman, I'd like to acknowledge you, MP for Central Honiara. So when it comes to some of the technical issues here, maybe I'm a bit more technical than the expertise that we get with him. Yeah, so that's when we would like to look outside to get someone to come in and do the work for us. So I think that one has the whole intention with regards to this one. So thank you for that comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Leader of Opposition. Sorry, let me
Clause 3B, Chairman, where we say may appoint a person to be a member of a committee whether or not the person is an employee. So lawyer may imply that a public officer who's already on the payroll may be appointed by the minister onto the committee, and just linking it back with the concern raised by the honourable member for Central Honiara, that as our default position must be workable public service now is to look over something, review, give him advice or something. In the case of the Minister Talem, hopefully more and more exceptional in nature, that you may not guarantee that capacity. Now you may look outside and appoint 10 people come. But an employee more part of workable or additional task you give him no, give work him come and give him come ting blame, rather than putung hem gomolo committee. Perhaps some comment on that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. So, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. First, let me maybe just one step back, coming to the point raised by Central Honiara. The provisions law here is not, you may say, is not designed to take away, but to supplement roles. So in terms of if there is capability in the public service to do that task, then there is no need to employ this clause or this section as per se. So that's why we have mail that imparting discretionary powers go to the minister. So the minister may, if I'm looking at officers no deal with him. But if he sees that there is in doing that a conflict of interest might arise because about determining him no more something whereby him apply a locata, then someone else outside him may require to do the job. That is something that you can employ under this act. So in doing that, like you, Michelle, this is a scenario where leader of the official opposition say you still start taking someone from inside for coming. Now, you might get a situation where someone has let's say a double degree, for example, so qualification. Although he is in a position for, let's say, HR, but him also IT man too. So he can appoint that person for an IT, but that's not his job description, or you may say what he's appointed for in that, but he has that qualification. So the possibilities or advantages of having that here is captured here. So like I say, it's meant to supplement and complement rather than to, you may say, deducting more things from effective management loop public service. I remember recalling stating that inside law, I think ECZ bill, passing law here, is that I usually call this kind of provision, it falls under what I call the umbrella principle, which is you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's why it's there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Attorney General. Any further comments on that clause? If not, I'm going to put the question. The question is that clause 32. Stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Ayes have it. Clause 32, therefore, stands part of the bill. Clause 33. Any comments on the clause before I put the question? Clause 33. Thank you. If there is none, sorry, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just in terms of the matters on which the Minister's annual report by Hemi cover, the recommendations 17 and 18, Hemi try for look this one, but 18 Hemi seek him that there is, because this was report by Kamala Parliament and any public, obviously everything Kamala Parliament, once it's laid before Parliament, any public now, but there may be matters where Minister must still report Kamlo Yumi Lohem, but that report need not be made public. And I'm thinking in terms of, well, Lohilo report talk about national security issues and so forth. Right now, we don't have a mechanism for this one. We don't have a system where we have classified information, for example, and we need something like that. So that classified information, for example, there are different levels of authorization. You know, who now look certain levels of classified material, for example, and so. But important in terms of being a democracy that minister report here, but that report by cannot detail in those, but that there must be oversight, so there is no abuse or arbitrary use of power in law. Kind something also. So perhaps it's more an aspirational issue at this stage, and perhaps a policy issue. Law, what's the government's thinking with regards to this matter, and whether any work is being done for making him possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Minister, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me thank the leader of opposition for that very important point or comment in terms of the different levels of reports and their importance, including as far as national security considerations are concerned. We are working on that, and that includes things like even in terms of cabinet papers, for example, the importance of cabinet papers and the security considerations that are involved. So it is a matter that we are currently looking into. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Chairman of PAC, Senator Honiro.
Chairman, when I read down to clause 33B, Roman numeral 1, then I now know why we have to appoint the advisory committee. Sorry about my very suspicious thinking and comment that I'm going to make right now, but if I'm wrong, please correct me, Honourable Minister and Prime Minister. When I read what now to be reported by the Minister on the annual report here, this time let me just look back now, why now clause 32 here where we have just voted on and we have to be put into this legislation. And just correct me, Minister, that that is not the reason why you have to establish this committee under this legislation, and that is for writing a report here on your behalf. I don't want that. Sir, if that is the intention, it will stop him now. Take him come amendment, it will throw him out straight now, the advisory committee, and then let's test the skills and the professionalism below the officers below you. No putting below the committee for writing something. And coming to the point that leader below opposition and make him, there are information, data that are going to be reflected in this report here that should be highly classified here. If we are talking about management of, personal human resource management in charge of public service here, which, somehow in the past, we've been struggling to do it. At times we do it better, sometimes we may not do it better. But they're still highly classified because we are talking about human resources here. People with, it's their personal property with the state here, most of them, yeah? But if it is your intention to use him now, advisory committee for come up on the motor review here and then to come that report here, no man, I'm no what me like tell him no here. But we are imi voting go finish now. This will advisory committee. I'm normal a little bit small disappointment below me. If that is going to be, because don't make this suspicion below me this time and real next year. No good him no more, it will like him no more for you, me open him now, this will or have this committee entrenched in the legislation to do this job for on your behalf. No, why me make him to a committee in the first place here. Put our trust in those people that you me are going to employ them. Principles that we have already adopted and entrenched in this legislation, it's going to work here. Believe in them. I must. Those principles, merit-based, what more people are reading go now. I must. But, time me looking at any reports made by an advisory committee under Section 32, man, Mahem no more why you don't like for establishing advisory committee. Please, if that is somehow going to be the kind of an exercise and practice that Baba may be doing going forward into the future, I think that is not me to just say normally, please. Maintain it within the commission. The commission can be engaged, to do this kind of work, even over the public work. So, my question is, Minister, you clear him no more, inshallah. Little bit crooked mind will me lohemi. You start them come, you me vote no. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman of the PSC and MP Professor Honera. Yes, so it's not the intention, as maybe how you look him, that the advisory committee have me writing more reports where you must submit from there. There would be certain issues that the committee might look into that by and the report brought up by him requiring for the minister for presenting before Parliament. So it's not the whole intention of the advisory committee is to prepare reports for Kamala Parliament. The advisory committee will look into certain issues as him needed and then back to work on him. But if that report requires deliberation from Council, then the minister will take on and take on that report later. I think that's the whole intention when it comes to establishing the advisory committee and also in terms of the reports. So I hope he give him a little bit it's a little bit thing, believe me. We're not going to spend money getting an advisory committee just to write a report, look into issues, write a report for Cambria. I think we have the commission, as you rightly say, Tavilong Sotohonera. They are there to present some of the issues that the public service need for bringing come here. But when there's a need that we establish a committee for look into something that I'm requiring the minister to present him, then that report will come to Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable MP for Easter Are.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to say that I think the assumption I think here is when we talk about the year, it's just the calendar year. Yeah? That's the calendar year no more. When this reference of, by the end of the year or what kind of reference to the year is a calendar year in terms of our understanding, January to December. Okay. When it comes to 33C, in terms of table, is there a difference in like tabling and submitting and presenting? Is there a difference in those terms in terms of our parliamentary processes? Tabling, is it different from submitting or different from presenting or same something? And if there's a difference, what are these differences? Thanks.
Honourable Minister, our process here in Parliament is the ministers table the reports in Parliament. So the minister will be tabling the annual report in Parliament. That's the requirement of parliamentary procedure. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate that. So my understanding would be it would be on the notice paper for the day, or when they say a paper is being tabled. Is that your understanding, Chair?
It will appear in the notice paper, and then the clerk will read it out. But table before. And the business today is the annual report of the Ministry of Public Service. That's how it will sound, and according to the processes in Parliament. The tabling of the report will be by the minister. Announcing it will be by the clerk, and it will be captured in the provisional order paper and then ultimately order paper. And now procedure. Thank you, Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
You have done an excellent clarification of this confusion. Michelle Tumigare say table, laying, what more? Some terms here. Submit, publish, present, paper to Parliament. Which one I am by end up normal pigeonhole here. That's one of a very confused issue that I always have too. And I think most pigeonholes are now really up beyond their limit too. Some are actually spilling over to below or sideways or over the floor or something like that. So which of them normally end up there? And if it ends up in the pigeonhole, what does that, what will it mean, emotion? Yeah? It is within the precinct of Parliament. So, I'm not lo that one. The other issue that I have is we seem to have these clauses, I mean, similar clauses like this in almost every legislation that have come into here. But we've always found, including those of us in the past, then you order this time and go at it, where the time limits have been given, but then minister no submit. So, what can be done? Is it basically just left like that no more, or how? Emotion. That's almost like the first thing is that if reports like this have not come in lawyer, then it gives a wrong message to the public service too. Yeah, the public service will say, oh, well, I mean, ministers aren't reporting on time. I mean, there is a very, very strong provision in law that requires them to actually table the report, but they haven't actually tabled it. And that sends a very wrong signal down the ranks and file below public service too. I must say. Well, if others are not doing what the law and me say, what are we trying to show here in terms of trusteeship, other responsibilities that you got in that law, these laws, you must say. So, what you're thinking on this public service, you put to lead the, somehow, you know, lead the talk on this and then try for show, yeah? Making people somehow come behind, or some of us who are chairing our committee must start for publishing and lay more report to you, motion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Chairman of PAC. Any comments on the observations, Honourable Minister?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you again, MP for Central Honiara. Yeah, so as per the requirement law, acted by him, and the report has to come there. Whoever you become a custody for any act that requires a report to be tabled, whether long ministry level or cabinet or parliament, then everyone must comply with him. I think, and that's a very good observation. MP Blow, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Chairman. I just go back to recommendation 18, Law Bills Committee. Perhaps one way, an interim measure or tool that we could use in Parliament for oversight, parliamentary oversight, law, executive, for some of those examples mentioned, law, that recommendation would be for the relevant committee, standing orders to be improved so that relevant committee is able to conduct inquiry where everyone take an oath of secrecy or something also, and the material is not published, and witnesses appearing before such an inquiry also take an oath of inquiry, oath of secrecy also. So there is still oversight by Parliament, but even that oversight is guarded, and so executive processes that hold the information related to sensitive issues also. Those sensitivities and the integrity of that information is not compromised or undermined. I was talking to one fella. I was at a conference where one fella, cybercrime specialist, and he make one for presentation, and how he present, and he say time all get a look like people were hacking information, sovereign databases or government or especially defense technology and also. Sometimes all get a larrikin man nowhere, but other times there are state-sponsored hackers or units within adversary states. So I'm state-backed cybercrime, and they will never disclose how I get find out that I'm state-sponsored hacking here. Or get no like him to that state for Savi how I get find him, because then I would find him where we go around him. And so there is sensitivity around the integrity of that information that will never come out. But I would say, country also not doing it, but how would I find them or something also? Important to the sovereignty of the data that they hold and to their own sovereignty. And therefore our systems need to be much, much more robust. Below 11th century, you run him look and something. You also even cabinet papers. You will meeting look cabinet come out. Tomorrow you will find out everything. You will discuss him no more. There is no, there's no real respect for confidentiality and secrecy and also. When, of course, also arguably with regards to cabinet, not everything should be secret. But some things should be confidential and secret and should be graded as such, so that matters where him should be open to public. Cabinet proceedings should be like Parliament, should be public. People should be able to log in on Facebook or Google or whatever and see what Cabinet is discussing and how people are expressing themselves and so forth. That would be great for transparency in governance. But there will be matters where it cannot come out from the bounds of Cabinet, and collective responsibility would dictate that once decisions are made, all members of Cabinet toe the line, even if they had differing views in Cabinet. So what kind of matters to them? You may need improper systems for protecting them. That's the spirit of recommendation 18. But in terms of annual reporting, Minister should still give metadata in terms of the kinds of issues that were encountered in the year, but not the detail. That's the spirit of that recommendation. In terms of recommendation 17, sir, hemi tie in with him professional standards unit law division 6, law part 6 here, clause 72. But law here, Hemi to do with its own activities. Who inspects the inspectorate unit to keep them honest? If they are not doing their job, then by also affect them too, public services generally. And then the reporting below minister, he must also report on how active that unit and its ability to effectively discharge its responsibility must also in the minister's report. So Parliament is informed about the effectiveness of this unit, that they, get no compromise. Sir, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Yes, so with regards to recommendation 18 here, the clause 1 to 3, but non-disclosure of information, by addressing that concern, recommendation 18 with the Business Committee would recommend them. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just also on recommendation 18 and the points that the leader of opposition has raised in terms of how we treat very important information. This is also part of the work that we are now working on in terms of working towards a national security bill. So some of these considerations in terms of how we deal with information will be part of the national security legislation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable Chairman of the Bills and Legislative Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Law 33C, me like for commenting minister. Didn't him good. Him tola luluk law change a little bit more. As alluded to by the Chairman of Public Accounts Committee and member for Central Honiara, ia staka provisional say mimi karim tu pata reportin sa kamnuma lo kata provisional hemi preach noma. So me like for committee minister you take him me like for you stop lo there all the way noma minister, so that we take responsibility. Yeah. Trusty CP mito toklo hemia hemlo public service and minister, and this is one way to really demonstrate and prove it to our people and public that the responsibility is with the minister. Report come. Me happy lot that one. Make as you also stated, minister. Other laws here ma must wake up now. No, for you, always no report when there is already a provision under the Act, Chairman. Me kolulupaik lo bilia for the penalty if minister no report kami, what na penalty blahem. Me quite interested in me luluk lo clause 116, 123. That aside, me like that provision, ministers to report, to table their reports, and they should take that responsibility. Me commenting minister in that regard. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member for West Arare. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Chairman of the Business Committee for the positive comments plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Let me now put the question. The question is that clause 33 stand part of the bill. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it, clause 33. Therefore, now stands part of the bill. Clause 34. Any comments on that clause before I put the question? Clause 34. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. Clause 34, Bills Committee Recommendation 19. Hemi seeking further clarification, law delegated responsible functions. And so, for example, Law 1, 34.1 let me say, minister's function may be delegated to a permanent secretary or any other employee who the minister is satisfied has capabilities for performing those functions. So when we, and then of course Law 2, or Law 3, let me say performance of a function by a delegate, which is Law 1, PS or any other employee, is to be treated as the function was performed by, as if it were performed by the minister. So therefore any appeal against an action or decision that was made by that delegate, he must go higher than the minister because the delegated function was exercised on behalf of the minister. So who we appeal go heme? I go straight law court now, or? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Leader. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chairman. So, Mr. Tuck, for comment on the recommendation 19 animal. So, as the section 34.2 and provide for specifying conditions for which delegation is subject to. Further, more as a person performing a delegated function cannot further delegate that function to another. So I mean that with Minister I may delegate him the power to the PS. Any appeal, because the power still sits with the minister. Any appeal have to come back to the minister. Yes, because that for the power him sit down with him, minister. So I'm delegating that power to the PS. And then any appeal against the decision of PS and make will come back to the minister. Maybe I can ask the AG as well to also further explain that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Sorry, before
Thank you, Chairman.
Leader.
Just before Honorable Attorney General, let me give him some clarification. This was 34.3 years seemed to rule him out this possibility where Minister Taleme, once a delegate performs the function delegated to him or her by the minister, that's already a decision by the minister now. So you cannot appeal, go back more to minister, because every minister make a decision through the delegate. That's what 34.3 is saying. So therefore any appeal lo here abai go lo hu. It cannot be back to the same person.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Leader of the Official Opposition, for that question. If I may start at the delegation part, for explaining, if me delegating powers or a person, unless I give him part of my delegation, I say you can delegate that further, then they can do that. But if I don't state that in that delegation, then you can't. So that's why in here him say maybe subject, must be in writing and subject to conditions. So, and the next thing is that does not, so one see him to see person with the delegating can still exercise that function. Okay, in terms of this one, because of the fact that it's treated as it were performed by the minister, so then the appeal for that would go up to the High Court now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
So also what kind of matters now could be delegated by the minister under here, so that you may know no unnecessary appeals go to court. Most matters we would prefer fixed to administrative level. So what kind of delegations now are anticipated here?
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Basically, it says any of the minister's functions under this act. So him no limit, him say any function below minister for performance under Public Service Act can be delegated. only thing we have said delegating is the power to delegate. I have no more law blaming him, stop him. So if said delegating would function, but that power we have allowed him for delegate, him cannot delegate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Any further comments on that clause? If not, I'm going to put the question. The question is that clause 34, stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 34, therefore, now stands part of the bill. Next clause is clause 35. Any member wish to comment on that clause? If I put a question, clause 35. Thank you. If there is none, I'm going to put a question. The question is that clause 35 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 35, therefore, now stands part of the bill. Clause 36, any member wish to comment on this clause before I put the question? You can refer to pages 42, 43 of the Bills Committee's report on this bill, on that section, on that clause. Any comments on that clause? Clause 36. Thank you, Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, again, Bills Committee, recommending the removal of this clause in its entirety. Public Service Commission may advise and recommend, I'm thinking that the kinds of work that's in clause 36 here is work that the Ministry of Public Service does and should continue to do. And so there's no need to create another set of processes more under Law Public Service Commission separate from the processes already existing under Law Ministry Law Public Service. And now the spirit of that recommendation.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Any comments? Any further comments on the observation by the comments by the leader?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you once again, Leader of the Opposition. Yes, so the yeah, so the roles of the Commission for advice or recommend based on its function, which is clear clause 36 here, the intention for establishing the one clearly inside the bill here. The review and recommendation relating to the function of the Public Service Commission can only be made by the Commission itself unless able for delegated that role. So here, the policy intention of the one now is for clearly establishing the roles and responsibility of the Commission provided for under the Constitution and provide additional administrative roles, responsibilities under this full Act. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, sir. The other issue, perhaps subsidiary to those considerations, but the fact that Public Service Commission itself doesn't have a supporting capability under it to do all the resources to do this kind of work is already within the Public Service Ministry. So in terms of resource efficiency and perhaps also decision-making efficiency now, and better that the work that's anticipated here is done by the Ministry of Public Service. And the Commission does what the Commission does without being drawn into, the more administrative type. I'm still, making out appointments and discipline are not core function. Blame all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader of Opposition. So in drawing up the bill, I think this one had more of a recommendation by me come from the Public Service Commission through the consultations. The Public Service Commission, as you rightly tell them, the PS now have actually the administrative arm of the commission. So in perform the roles and the responsibility belong commission that work always done by the administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MP for Arare.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister. So this is one of the sections that I'm defining now, mata, here in terms of what Section 36 contains and what mata and meaning inside layer. And I think if we read through, it's very short section only. And then the word mata only comes in at 36.2, or subsection 2. Further to what the Leader of Opposition was saying about perhaps the redundancy of having this here in the first place, if we are going to keep it, wouldn't it be easier for you, for leave him out no definition here, but just list him everything here, in a subsection 2, conduct a review in relation to a matter instead of there, in relation to then you list him now. Everything here, A, B, C, and D. Just to make it more cleaner and shorter straight to the point. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable MP for East Arare. Minister, Honorable Minister, any response to the comments?
Thank you, Chairman. Maybe ask him EG for comment on that. Thank you.
General?
If MP Blue is again, me not get them good. What name? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister AG. So 36, we are defining what matter means in this particular section. And then if we look at that whole section here, it's a very short one, but it ends up with 36.2 now actually refers to that end of that sentence, conduct a review in relation to a matter. So that's where I would say that it would come in. So my question is just, why don't we just list him everyone there, instead of in relation to a matter, just say conduct a review in relation to, and just list him A, B, C, and D. Much more clearer, without having to define matter more, and then it's just one reference number here. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MP for East Arare. Perhaps AG, just maybe you could also expand on the role of the Commission under Section 116 of the Constitution, to see where this fits into the responsibility of the Commission against what is expected or tried to be defined here as its role. Section 116 of the Constitution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP, for that question. It's just a drafting style, in terms of matter how it's done. and it's how adopted by ministry. So unless ministry would like to have it changed, it makes no difference whichever it is. So as it is perfect. With regards to the functions of the Public Service Commission, what it does here basically is the minister just well, it's also not public service too. In its own initiative, can make that review law, certain things we outlined law matter law here. But so that it's two ways it can happen. One is if Public Service Commission carries out the review on its own request, on its own initiative, and the other one is at the request of the minister. So in terms of what functions will Public Service Commission, there is, it does not inhibit or even trespass inside law what Public Service Commission is constitutionally assigned to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable PAC.
Thank you, sir. Thank you too for raising this issue about the relationship with Section 116 of the Constitution. I was going to ask that too. In particular, Law Surplus 2, where the minister may request, will it not in some ways interfere with the constitutional function of the Public Service Commission? Why can't we just remove it? Because, you know, in a way, the minister is requesting something to a commission that is created by the Constitution. In terms of the hierarchy and the relationship, do you think in any way interfere with that kind of a relationship where the Constitution and place him now the commissioner? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MP for its own. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so maybe if we can just be clear on what the function of the Public Service Commission is. And Section 116 say the power to make appointments to public officers, including power to confirm appointments and to remove and exercise disciplinary control over persons holding or acting in such office is vested in the Public Service Commission. That's a core function blame, constitutional function blame. So, in that sense, whatever any act will do, we cannot add on more or tell him say you or take away that function him. So, in this case, and also to tell him too that independent public service commissions must be independent. I think 127 tell him that one. Okay, so that's why in this case it recognizes that and says that Public Service Commission in its own initiative can do that, or the Public Service Commission may at the request. So not directive, request. So if Minister says, Public Service, can I make a request, can you do this? Public Service can refuse. And they can say, no, I don't want to do it. I'm in Lodiana. But if Public Service Commission say, okay, I will do it, I think it's an important matter and it's within what I should be doing and I will do it, then I'm doing it. But if I'm say, no, I can't do this, I'm not going to do it, I'm in Lodiana. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And before we proceed, first of all, it's now 4:30 p.m. and if the committee of the whole house is still in progress, the Prime Minister wishes to go past to 4:30 p.m., then of course we'll have to stop the proceedings first and the Parliament will resume. Thank you, honourable members. It's now 4:30. The proceedings of this committee is now interrupted and will resume. I understand the Prime Minister wishes to move a suspension standing order to allow the deliberation of the committee to continue. Parliament is therefore resumed. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is now 4:30 p.m. and I move that Standing Order 10 be suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81 to permit the continuation of the business of the House until adjourned by the Speaker in accordance with Standing Order 10.5.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Other member wishes to comment on this motion, but I will put the question. Honourable Leader of Opposition.
Yeah, thank you, sir. If by 12, thinking for Karen, you long time, you may suspend for 2-3 minutes, make him, you minimum to was a 1 out 2 minutes. If stuck a hospital, you connect him go outside, but no more so. If you told thing by me go a little bit late, give me a little bit 2-3 minutes for you minimum. You may start all 2 years. And no more a little bit concern me like that. Thank you. But if by 12 no long time, I even go.
Thank you, Honourable Leader. Anyway, the question is that Standing Order 10 be suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81 to permit the continuation of business of the House until adjourned by the Speaker in accordance with Standing Order 10.5. All those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Standing Order 10 therefore stands suspended and business of the Committee of the whole House will continue until I interrupt to adjourn the House. Thank you. The Committee of the Whole resumes. Let us continue with the bill, and we will close 36. I think Honourable and for Central Honera, Chair of the AC, we're going to make a comment.
Chairman, you may Jenia Gugumi forget to you. I think everything I'm low now, so yeah. Just following on the explanation that the Honourable Attorney General has just made, why do we always have this kind of a provisional law where the obvious will have to come out, yeah? Like in this case, the independence of the Commission. And the Commission will always stand to say, look, don't interfere in my jurisdiction, yeah? So, knowing that, if a situation like that could arise, why do we always have this kind of a provisional law, I think the best thing is for me to stick to what now the Constitution, and that is protect the independence of these institutions, commissions that are established by the Constitution. Awesome. I really appreciate what you tell me, that, whatever that may have been requested by the Minister, the Commission will turn around and say, look, it is not within our jurisdiction, or could just bluntly say, look, we are not going to do it. Emotion. Who's going to complain to them? What are we going to do to them? Except for you may turn around and say, okay, you may remove now whatever 1 year. That normally happens, isn't it? Emotion. These commissions, established by the Constitution, and knowing very well that, sometimes, their appointment, we know exactly, how they are appointed. We sometimes reach out to that very limit too, for removing now the commissioners, simply because they didn't want to listen to a simple request or a gentleman's request made to them, or mutual request made to them. Emosem. So, lo titing blominomo, we know the obvious, what the Constitution says, protect their independence. Then why not you may put him, optional or very, what could I say? Options like this, for you to request, or allow him, there's such a request, but we know what would be the obvious, from this institution, for this commission. Small comment on him, me like for put him come. I still stand on my comment that I think we should remove it. And then leave it to the commission to see where they can fit in to this. The other aspect that me like for comment is that on the matters where me stated in subclause 1, it's all about just human resource. But there are functions where that is given to the commission under the Constitution is for recruit here, in 116 here. I think 1167 or somewhere low there, or no, in one of those subsections low there. So what does that mean? Are we going beyond what now the Constitution had given them, to deal with? What's your view on this? Or should we go back to the Constitution and then you may change the Constitution so that these matters that we are prescribing in this law are contained in some kind of a constitutional amendment that giving that function to the Commission or to perform those functions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman PAC. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for Central Honiara, for that question. Well, actually, having it here also serves a purpose, and stated earlier, there's no constitutional impediment for because for very reason that Public Service Commission main problem is to make appointments to public office, which is recruitments, which is also remove mokata disciplinary, and also 1162 him also say that Public Service Commission by delegating what functions certain people, certain officers. So there was all people inside law public service now. Okay, in doing that, the Public Service Commission should be able to, which I am conduct reviews on how public service operates. So, because that body is responsible for delegating its functions to other persons. So, for example, you might delegate it to a director of fisheries or director of aviation kind of thing. So, if the commission sees that it's fit for him for doing water reviews here, then by all means they should do it and make those recommendations to the minister in carrying out those responsibilities. And it can still retains the Independence Law Commission, saying that if I'm like doing, I'm doing. If I'm not like doing, that's entirely up to the Public Service Commission to do it. So if you see in terms of matters law A, B, C, and D, A is performance for public service, for functions of human resource management, public officers, and public service generally, and administration of the act. So those are matters that are within this ambit law, what Public Service Commission doing law under law Constitution too. We have then in giving the recommendations below him is entirely. I would think they would be. They should be glad to give those, to make those reviews to enable performance of functions below Mohota. Also, supplementing too. That's my view. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Any other comments on that clause? Otherwise, Honorable MP for East Are.
Yeah, thank you. I think all this discussion has been helpful in terms of the mandate in Constitution 116 and the functions of the BSC. But I think when it comes to this particular one with my question here, in terms of subsection or subclause 2, conduct a review in relation to a matter, and the matter is actually listed out and prescribed in 36(1). My question was that, given all that we have already discussed, and if we're going to go through with this, why don't we put this as instead of saying in relation to a matter, in relation to, and then list all those issues that apparently it's all about human resources and management and that. Why are we doing the drafting as we're doing it now? Is it something to do with the Constitution? Is it something to do with a definition of what a matter is? Or is there another definition of a matter somewhere that we now have to define matter in this little section and then have it referred to in just the next subsection rather than just listing it? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member for East Are. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for East Arara, for that question. As earlier answered, matters and referred to and specifically and only applicable only to this section number, so it's kept there. It's not a matter that's defined as a general application term, but it's just for this section here. No, so how it's set up is just drafting style for this section rather than including it in there or defining first time, then just put them come one word for encompassing it. That's just a drafting style. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable Central Honiara MP.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Chairman, how we interpret what the Minister may request the Commission here now, me still come back to that point here, where I think Constitution that rightly belongs to him, not even, I don't think him refers to anything that him delegated here, because the delegated part here, am very specific. Commission can only do that in writing, not legislating. They can do it in writing to those particular officers here or any member of the Commission for performing now the task here, Emerson. But the one that I think will make a lot, I think Babahem raised him a lot of contention, possibly, I'm not too sure, between the Commission and the Minister. Now, this is clause 1A here. Any aspect of the performance of the Public Service Commission's function. Now, what is the function of the Commission? That is in 116 here of the Constitution. Now, then the Constitution say also the Commission had to do it independently without any undue influence or interference from any body here. But then the Minister will request him to make a review of that matter. This is where one night in WAD meeting say, how can Minister request him now, the Commission, for him review him now what the Constitution and give him the Commission emotion. That party now was him. Whether or not think blow him the right one or him, you try explain him come. That's the part that I thought that him by problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable PAC, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for Central Honera. Let me try and attempt to allay your concerns. Actually, what this means is actually recognizes the independence of the commission. So him say if minister, so for example, if minister him little bit doubt him little bit to treat him, hey, commission please you should tell him come advise him come. How na you doing this all waka for me, make him guide me lo time you do not waka. Commission do. Him no actually him say what it means any aspect of the performance of the Public Service Commission's function. So the functions below him, how him perform him, not him minister him say you should tell him come how na you doing this one so that whatever I do does not go against what you're doing. So the commission can step in and say, okay, I'll do that. I'll say, in terms of this one, I'll do this. Okay, if commission him say, come look him say, hey, Mr. to look him public service him start to go outside now. So I might review that on my own initiative and with Gim Golo minister, tell him that, oh minister, you need to take into cognition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that when you carry out Wakablo ministry below you don't try and overstep this, because I am starting to see that you may start to go over boundaries. So it's not usurping, it's not taking away, it's not interfering, it's actually enhancing, if you have a look at this. Enhancing what not functions. So, for doing Wakablo, I say, okay, I want to do my job, but you guide me so I don't go into your sphere. Basically, if you look in this one. Thank you, Mr.
Honorable Attorney General. Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
Yeah, for the time being, I'll hold on to that explanation that you made. But then it will come on the last part of that clause 2 here. To conduct a review in relation to a matter. So, conducting a review, you hold one matter here and not one what here, 1A, which is the one that constitution I am giving over there. So the fundamental question that I want to ask you is this, AG, how could a commission review on Wakablo? Does that make sense? How could they review their own work? I mean, the only way that we can refer the work of a commission is through a tribunal, you know that, through a tribunal appointed by the Governor General, not minister, asking them to review it, only the Governor General. That's where I'm caught. I'm caught in the argument that you put in forward, Lomia. So me release income, can you explain that part? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MP for Central Honiara. Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP for Central Honiara, for that question. We need for distinguishing between when a commission is discharging its function by making a decision or so, rather than making a review. Two different things. Time discharging function, him cannot go back and review on decision. That is settled in law. That has to go up higher. But in this case, him review what administrative procedures, him not this one, him relate to. Whatever co-function in terms of making a decision in terms of appointment, if I'm appointing someone, unless misconduct him come in, report come in, then him cannot terminate him. Or if I'm terminating someone, I cannot go back and unterminate him, no, because him have to move on to the next one is appeal, go to High Court, now by him looking, so yes, in discharging that function, you have already discharged. You cannot go back. So that's what the courts have held. You cannot go back and review your own decision. Okay, like this one is okay, if you look at review in relation to a matter, and one of the matter is aspects of performance. Management, administration, those are administrative functions. They are not that core decision-making process where as soon as I'm exercising that function, that becomes functus officio, and that moves up the next level in terms of reviewing it. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable Chair.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Nagmo. Can I come back to the AG and just ask him no more sub-clause 1 and A here? Because that is a very substantial matter in terms of the function of law commission here. And that function is not a new function. It is a function where we entrench inside the constitution. That is my submission to you. That that function here is what you have just referred to, hiring, firing, and so forth. Yeah. So, where we require them in this law to do it either voluntarily or by a special request by the minister, Emerson, for review. That's what point where me put him come law. It's not just a simple ordinary thing that into just constructing law here. They made that decision, and they cannot review themselves. Anyone who have agreed about the decisions we ought to make, either they go to court, or if any barawa appear so bad and serious, then him attract him a possible referral for the Governor General for him set him up a tribunal here. So him still start to auxiliary point here that I think even a special request that you may like forward for reviewing themselves. I think that particular part here you may need for changing. We need to change that part below this draft here. We cannot just asking them to review themselves, their own decision on that particular function here. And that function that I'm referring to is not a function that is just a new creation out of this bill. All law public service legislation are from the Constitution straight here. If you think that that is your belief, law this one, then meeting that, you will need for removing this particular provision here. Remove it. But if you think that, it's something ordinarily simple no more, then maybe you should remove, this part here, this A here. You take that A out, then that will cure the problem that you mean by government. Then allow no more B, C, D, and all that for the stay law there, because it's all about new things that we are requiring them to do that have not stated inside the Constitution. That's my view, and I really wanted to respectfully submit it to the Attorney General. You think about this one of those. I think there is a possibility of Yumi running against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MP, for Central Honiara. I still don't think it does conflict with the Constitution. This one, for example, if the minister makes a regulation for how by appeal go upload Public Service Commission, that is an advice on the aspect of its performance of its functions. So okay, this is how I want appeals to come up to me from PS. So he outlines that. So in reviewing that, maybe it's already done that. But so according to the public service regulation, I'm saying no, I need to review it. So I'm doing. So that's basically what it is. It's not saying that in your performance, this decision where you work wrong, you must review it. No, it's not saying that. Two different things. This is the process which you may tell him the administrative processes for him. And it's not in any way interfering with the constitutional function of that specific commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable MP for Istar Are.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, AG and Honorable for Central Honiara. I think it's helpful if we also see Section 137 of the Constitution. That really outlines, so Section 37, subsection 4, in the exercise of their functions under this Constitution, no such commission shall be subject to the direction or control of any other person or authority, except where otherwise provided by this Constitution. So I think it's, when we're talking about this, it'll be good to also be aware of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with constitutional bodies and institutions, and that power that they have to regulate themselves too. And what we're doing here is an act to try and do that now, I think, is an issue, particularly for this fellow subsection 1, what they're A here, where we're talking about their functions here. Maybe if we're talking about some other resource, human resources, maybe that might be okay, but the idea that we are now starting to dig into something that, you know, some of us feel that it's a constitutional issue, that might be a dangerous path for us to start taking, for law to start to ask or request. And then if you read on here, Mr. Chair, in terms of what happens later, is that the minister, if there's a review, that report must be given, must now, some word here, simple English here, must lo there man. I mean to the PSC. These are hard languages that you're asking a constitutional office that is regulated by the Constitution, and then having an act trying to intervene in that. So I think for us in our discussions here, I think it's helpful for us to also look at 137 of the Constitution and see what it says there as well in terms of commissions that are set up by the Constitution and how they are regulated. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable MP for East Harare. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, MP, for East Harare for that insight to that one. Contrary to the session, basically what Section 36 does is him providing not just statutory infrastructure for the Public Service Commission to exercise oversight of its own delegates, fully consistent with the Section 1162 Talem. Okay, so, and okay, if you step back, you should look in that. Okay, it essentially empowers Public Service Commission from conduct reviews of its own operations, HR practices, and public service generally, and it enables it to advise and recommend improvements in HR management. What it does not do is him not confer him any additional or different power upon law of appointment or discipline, or him in any way altering delegation powers blame law under the Constitution. So in that sense, there is no conflict within Constitution. Okay, if I may, as you told me earlier on, 116 him vest him exclusive authority the public service in terms of appointments, removal, disciplinary control. So, in light of that, Public Service Commission is the sole appointing and disciplinary authority for public officers. So now that for him became him clear, except where Constitution himself for other police and other teachers. Okay, so. So, because powers of Public Service Commission him for that one, what this one him done him basically in terms of review and advisory functions, two different things. One is the actual power of doing removal, appointment, discipline. This one and basically just review and advisory function. They're two different and distinct functions. So. There's no conflict. There's no constitutional conflict in this sense, and but then there's still also that discretion law commission. He still says, "No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to exercise that function. I don't want." That's entirely up to the commission. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Honorable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, sir. Me was listening very carefully to the advice given by the AG, but some part also you like for making ruling more. Lower travel issue. Maybe you keep it just to advisory number, AG, because this is Parliament. I think we need to protect the Constitution and the intent of the Constitution, not the interpretation that anyone can make a normal of this chamber. What the Constitution is thinking, I mean, the function of advisory, for instance, just to give advice and advisory, that's not a function that is given by the Constitution to the Commission here. That is not the function that is, in my view. I mean, me no reading law anywhere the Constitution, we am telling that the PAC has been given that responsibility by the Constitution for him advising now anybody, including the public service or the minister or whoever, him got a normal function number. And that function is one that you have actually put him no longer sub-clause 1, oh sorry, clause 1, clause 36, sub-clause 1, a year, that's the part that, you know, if you me, in my view, if we hold it, and then you me try for apply him now, sub-clause 2 and 3, I think we will run against what not the Constitution in Talem. And in my view, we need to protect him now, what now the intent of the Constitution. I don't think just by way of a question that you may run lawyer, raise him on the issue no more, and then the rule, someone seems to express some kind of a ruling on it. I don't think that is right, Mr. Chairman. I don't think that is right. We need to fall back on what now the intent of the Constitution. We will still have that problem of clause 37 and 36 here. 38 here. But even to require the Commission to give the report to the Minister for him to table him lawyer. Where the Constitution now? Where the Constitution? That is not what the Constitution means. Requiring the Commission for doing here. So that party too was, I mean, coming back to what is being constitutionalized is the function of the Commission. I think you may need for really protect him. That's my submission, but you've all got a number for vote him out. No, you will me as well. I'm right number. You go ahead to him number. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable MP for Central Honiara. To perhaps make a summary response. Before I put a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As opposed to making a ruling, not making a ruling, it's basically a legal opinion, putting in that there's no constitutional, you may say, contravention in this case. However, if I'm passed, then there is a contravention, then the courts are there for that matter. But as it is now, we're still debating it. There's no contravention, so no, we cannot be making any ruling at this point in time. And you by himself rule factual law too. So, but coming back to the point in hand and what the position is in terms of this one, there is no direct conflict with what Section 116 of the Constitution in Talem, within Section 36. For the fact that 116 deals with appointment, removal, and discipline, which is the core function or constitutional function or power of the Public Service Commission, and that Section 36, Clause 36 here, basically deals with review and advisory functions, which are administrative and policy support activities. The team is here by him assisting the public service and commissioning in performing constitutional duties below him. By me looking at in terms of its operation and operation, they operate in two different domains too. One is constitutional defines who holds powers and how it may be delegated, whereas the bill law here basically just defining how those powers are supported, reviewed and managed within a modern administrative framework. So one being constitutional, one being administrative. So those are the two different domains that this bill and constitution have put in terms of the powers law, public service and dream. So that's where the advice is given on whether this one conflicts or no. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. With those observations, sorry, Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Just talking about the Constitution, Mr. Chairman. The Constitution requires that I call the quorum on this committee now. Yuminogaram quorum. So I am constitutionally bound to raise it. Thank you, sir.
So was that the point of order? No.
Just take it any way you like, but
Okay.
I'll
All
raise
right,
the
thank
matter
you.
of quorum.
And therefore, I will put the question, and the question is that clause 36.
Chairman, you cannot, once the question of quorum is raised, then proceedings of committee would have to be interrupted and Parliament would have to wait 15 minutes, and then if no more now, you may adjourn.
Unfortunately, my interpretation of Standing Order 12 is when we start to review, coming for a meeting, and we don't have a quorum, then of course it can be raised. But I'm not sure whether it has been invoked before, where in the proceedings of a meeting, and suddenly the numbers return, and you bring up a point of a quorum. I'm not sure, unless it has been done before. So there's a precedence I can go by.
Your own precedent, Mr. Chairman, you have suspended committee before, and not just you, your predecessors too, when quorum is raised, especially when we're voting law. At each vote, always have a sit down outside, time we may discuss question to and fro, but time lo vote, you must garam quorum. And we don't have a quorum, and I have raised the question of quorum, and therefore you are duty bound.
Well, first of all, quorum for a vote or quorum for a Parliament to continue with its proceedings?
Well, in this matter, quorum for a vote, but it does form
Order
part
12,
of the proceedings.
please.
Huh?
Standing Order 12.
Well, you are the Lord in this house, but you decide come. But if you decide any other way, why you go against your own orders where you must keep him.
I've been here for the last one and a half terms, but I've not come across that. But definitely, the point of quorum raised when Parliament is just about to start, and then if there's no quorum, this point of order is raised, but not to interrupt the proceedings of meeting that suddenly there's a lack of quorum. Not in my one and a half term as presiding officer for the Parliament of Solomon. None.
Well, Order 12.1, sir, referencing Section 67 of the Constitution. I think better Attorney General na clear him come. Make him no argue no. Attorney General tell him come. What now situation? Thank you. Chairman, Section 67 of the Constitution, clear no more. If objection is taken by any member of Parliament present, you mean fulfill him now that if is no longer an if. It's happened. I have taken objection.
I have no no problem with that. It's the timing of the raising the point of order.
Well, hem implied lo here. Hem any time no more during proceedings of Parliament, hem no restricting time. This is a right of a member of Parliament during any proceedings, any part of proceedings, whether committee or in other proceedings of Parliament. And then 13.8.12.1a, clear reference to quorum of Parliament and of a committee of the whole House. So, how do you get out of this one? You have no power to go outside of the Constitution and Order 12.1.
Okay, point taken. The issue here is you only raise it because of the just about time for me to call the vote on this particular clause. But the House was already without a quorum even before we came to this clause.
Good point, Mr. Speaker. Very good point.
So why did you not raise it earlier?
Because me is looking now this time, me count, oh, me no quorum. All this while, meeting me quorum no. But me no quorum now. At any point under Section 67 can be raised. Whether me remember to raise in time no any quorum or me forget, 67 doesn't matter. Whenever a member raises it, it becomes a matter.
Okay, thank you. We'll leave to that. You can take that matter to court, but I'm going to make a ruling here.
Well, let's perhaps allow the Attorney General to clarify the law with regards to matter, then you make a ruling guided by that advice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think in terms of quorum, I would agree with the leader of opposition that Constitution him not tell him actually which time, so him no prescribe that only the raising quorum was certain times. Him just put in blank no say that if objection is taken by any member present during the meeting, present that there is less than half, then you need to ascertain within that interval where standing orders and requirements. So in this case, I think it's 15 minutes or 5 minutes?
15 minutes.
Yes. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The only standoff here is what I said. It was called because when we voted on the clause 35, there was already no quorum. Of course. That's why I was surprised you raised it on clause 36 when we voted on clause 35, when the numbers was not even here.
Well, hurrah for you, but I'm just duty bound to do it now. So get over it. I mean,
it's just, I don't know why. There was a lot of exchange on this clause 36, right? So even if we put it off and we come back and we'll go through clause 36, sorry, Honorable Attorney General?
If I may just put some clarification. Maybe on the issue of quorum is not an issue until it is raised. I think I'm not an issue, so the passage of that can go on. But once it is raised as an issue, then we must deal with it. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Yes, okay. I'll use that as a reason for. It will be the first time, but I think when go to Hansen.
I can search it up.
Tomorrow you give it to me.
Oh, tonight. Tomorrow for what?
No, on public here, not private.
Oh yeah, but you go research himself. You have staff.
No.
You're being unreasonable.
No. raise it
Constitution,
on the floor of Parliament, you have to show it on the floor of Parliament.
Constitution requires you to act, and that's all you need to do. You're not above the
I
Constitution.
suspend the proceedings of the committee in the interim, and the House will resume. Thank you. Parliament is resumed. And in accordance with our earlier resolution today, in accordance with that resolution, I shall now adjourn Parliament until 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, 23rd October. Thank you.